So, welcome back to East Origin. I decided to gain a level to make this next section go more smoothly. And not only because of that, but because the shifting sands is the part of East Origin where the game decides that it doesn't really like you that much at all. So there are all kinds of nasty enemies and traps like those spinny spike things, which will be unfortunately familiar to anyone who played East the Oath and Felgana. I'm gonna get knocked over a whole lot. Not only does the shifting sands have some nasty areas and monsters and other such things, the area has a particularly vicious boss that's probably one of the hardest you can actually fight in this game. Yeah, as opposed to bosses you don't fight. This is East, not Mass Effect. Before East Origin, there was like one game in the franchise that had an optional boss. First treasure, a Rhoda fruit. While this one is technically optional, if we want to finish this area with any semblance of sanity, we're going to give that Rhoda fruit to the Roo. These teleport mages are just the tip of the iceberg as far as monster annoyance goes in this area. Oh yeah, and they can self-heal too. Which actually reminded me of something I just noticed. In this game, there are actually 4 bosses that are capable of self-healing, while there were only 2 bosses that were capable of it in the entire previous history of the franchise. The only other 2 bosses capable of it were Aram the Lord of Slaughter from Dawn of Ys, and Ernst from Ark of Nepishtim. Okay, extending item drop effects is something I really want because I want these attack and defense boosts to linger. Annoying enemy number 2 are these guys, who can knock you straight over and off ledges, of which there are plenty in this area. And they're fairly resistant to pretty much any kind of damage except fire. And because fire knocks them back, and they are mobile enemies, it can be hard to get good combos on them too. Ow. The slimes are, well, slimes. They don't do any weird status ailments to us, at least not around here. So this area actually offers us 2 brand new obstacles. The first, slippery surfaces, and we don't have any stone shoes this time. I'll be saving all of my SP this time for something else needed. Anyways, Mask of Eyes Bridge. And our reward for that is Evil Ring. Some reward. You may remember the Evil Ring has that life-draining chunk of jewelry from East 1. But right now it's actually rather inert, so it doesn't do anything either to or for us. Now that this room is bereft of treasure of all kinds, both necessary and optional, we can actually move on. Provided that my eternal thirst for experience does not get the better of me. The enemies here so far have not been that damaging, but I assure you this will change. That's why I'm saving so often, folks. Okay, these worms are stationary, so the fire sword can wreck them pretty easily. It's not them that I'm worried about, it's the sand monsters, because they are undead and I can't actually permanently kill them yet. I can only knock them over. And that releases that barrier. Now I'll show you why I didn't actually go up the other staircase. Well, okay, maybe some other time. But the reason I didn't is that I actually need to use the double jump to go up that way. And I don't have that yet. As I said, these games are on the linear side. But I don't really mind. I can't really imagine a truly open-world Ys game, because they're really set on telling focused stories delivered at a fairly quick pace as far as I've encountered it. Though I've heard none too complimentary things about Ys 7 on that front. Speaking of which, I did actually get the opportunity to play Ys 7, and even if I could do it for this channel, I probably wouldn't. Okay. This room is probably one of the most dangerous in the game, because you're in a confined space with lots of bomb-throwing enemies that have double attack power, and can strip you of your hit points pretty quickly if you don't know how to isolate and destroy them. A bad turn in this room is actually what ended one of my attempts to record this video. Now we have the double jump, which allows us to do something right in this room. Jump, double, spin, Ruby. So the reason I'm not really all that interested in going through Ys 7 is, right from the start they seemed extremely interested in going on and on about how much more dangerous and special Altago is than every other single place that Adol has visited. And it does a lot of telling, and in the beginning it doesn't do a huge amount of showing by that mark. Granted, it might get better if I went further in, but I decided to just give the game a pass. The real strength of Ys games is that they tend to dump you right into the middle of whatever it is you're doing it fairly quickly, and E7 just plain didn't do that for me. It didn't grab me in those crucial first 15 minutes. With our double jump, we can now get one of these. And that's just a thing with me and RPGs in general. I don't really have any tolerance for games that people say, well, it starts slow, but it picks up after like 5 hours or something. It's probably why Riviera the Promised Land is one of my favorite JRPGs. You start the game, you go through the intro text, and bam, you're on your way to Riviera. Okay, this is rune number 4. And in exchange for our Rotafruit, our reward is a chunk of armor. I could have used it in the bomb thrower room, but, well, whenever I can get it is good. So long as I can actually get it. Yeah, I also like that the exterior of the tower depends on what part of the tower you're in. Anyway, story talkie time. Drop. It's so towery. Ho ho, you'll see how dangerous it is in just one moment. Nope. Okay, despite the music, these are just the exact same as the ones we encountered earlier. No problems. Well, relatively. Well, I guess being a goddess is good for something after all. Well, here we go. Well, thankfully, Rhea is actually willing to make the save this time. Giving back the harmonica. Yeah, Rado's annex in the original was, interestingly enough, where Rhea was imprisoned in East 1, and in this game they decided to shove Fina in there. I guess Falcom did that as a bit of a joke. Well, Yunica, you were just protected by the goddess, so you might want to think about that for a little bit. Boom. Okay, we now have the Silver Bells. These first showed up in Issa 1 as one of the treasures of Zephic Village. But in this game, they serve the same purpose that they did in Oath and Felghana, which is to allow Yunica to permanently destroy undead monsters. Speaking of Oath and Felghana, remember these bugs? Thankfully, they're not in the giant swarms that they were in the Ilburn's Ruins, but they're still pretty annoying, as mere contact will cause damage to you and hit stun and whatever. So anyway, I actually thought that these next couple of areas were further along after the mid-boss of the Silent Sands. And the fact that they were earlier is going to make my routing a bit better. More bomb throwers to dispose of, and thankfully they don't do the horrendous damage. Sorry. So anyway, in the place that introduces a whole bunch of knockdown traps, what do they expect you to do next? Platforming! Like so. Exactly like that. That's the best way to do it. My luck with this platforming can be extremely variable. Thankfully, I did very well this time when I was recording, but it's not always the case. I wouldn't say that the platforming in this game is as bad as it can get in Oath and Felghana, but some of it can get pretty tricksy. There's a whole lot of vertical in the Silent Sands, much more here than in pretty much any other part of Ys Origin. Thankfully, getting up is pretty straightforward. Just find the switches, hit them, and platforms do the rest. Need to squash that one last bug because the world will not be safe if there are any cockroaches. Yeah, this is the part that tends to get me the most. Okay, this next treasure chest will net us another 5,000 SP, which brings me to the total I want to have before I fight the midterm boss of this area. I don't want to use the diminutive term mid-boss for such enemies in this game, because that sort of connotes a lesser form of boss, unless, of course, you're playing Disgaea. And some of the midterm bosses in this game can be extremely dangerous. Though more on that later. That all brings us to Rahdo's Annex. So, this is Hugo Fact, the second initial playable character. He's not important right now, so all you really need to know about him at the moment is that he's a wizard who took wisdom as his dump stat. Haha, Yunica has been paying attention. Yeah, that tower, not wholesome? Yeah, that tower reeks of Rule 34. Seems fair enough. Hugo disapproves.
But forget Hugo. Okay, now we get to heal up and use all that SP we've accumulated on this. This boosts the amount of SP we get from enemies and such. And now we just strengthen armor. Save, because again, there are some things that can go wrong on this boss. And guess who's here to taunt us? Does she need to spell it? Maybe that one time. Yeah, one of the things I like here is how Zava talks about, well, muggles, for lack of a better term, like they were total cripples or whatever. Well, that's different. Okay, the Rados Annex boss is Genosriz, who was the first boss of East 1. This is what he looks like without his hood. Be glad he has it on. So, Genosriz is a bit of a different boss because you can do pretty much whatever you want to him for the first third or so of his life bar. After that, things get tricky because his turrets start doing some very different things. It's not all about flamethrowers this time. Like last time, though, he relies on his turrets to do pretty much all of the heavy lifting. He'll only occasionally try to drop a lightning bolt on your head. However, the turrets can do quite a bit of damage pretty quickly if you stay in their line of fire. So keep that in mind when you're chasing Genosriz around the room, because he still has that little teleport trick he has. He's not the hardest boss in the game, but he can get away from you. Still, he's done, because he has terrible defense. Boom, heal, win. How dare you kill the opponent I sent against you in life or death combat? Oh, wow. Nope. Wait, red text? Well, no wonder Dallas commands so much authority. He's a mod. Okay, so Rado's Annex has another architectural feature that might seem familiar. Yeah, that door don't open for just anybody. Oh dear. Hugo, don't open your mouth. Nothing good ever comes of it. Yeah, let me show you how powerful the curse is by touching the door. Can't believe their first urge on seeing something like that was to poke it. Yeah, tricking the door is what worked next time, I guess, if we're going chronologically. This is the most important hint for this puzzle. Anything else you can figure out by having played Ys 1. But anyway, that's it for this episode. Join me next time when we open that door and other things. Bye!